What's up, Twitch and YouTube? It's Murphy55 coming to you with another episode of Around the Gjallarhorn, and today we have Madden legend turned darts legend, Level MP in the building with us, Madden's players. First and foremost, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to get this podcast in. I know you're literally just coming back from work, so I really appreciate you making time in your schedule to come and do the interview, man.
No, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for reaching out. I've been seeing your episodes, and I've been wanting to be a part of it for a long time. So it's an honor to be on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. And I got a lot of questions for you. I know a lot about you from your streaming, from your presence on Twitter. From the your appearances on platforms like Bot Wars, where you and Kep had an iconic matchup just last year. And I know that was another thing that you've been hoping to get on for a long time too. So I was happy to see that happen for you. But let's go back and maybe talk a little bit about before we get into all the stream stuff. So you work a regular 9 to 5 job. Like what profession are you in? What's your regular work grind like?
So I'm in the IT world. Pretty much work 9 to 5. Right now I work in the healthcare industry. So basically, I'm an IT at a healthcare place. Make sure all the computers are up and running, answer all their phone calls, make sure that they can log in, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've been doing IT for like 20 years. So I was in the school district for a long time,
Yeah.
which is when I lived in Vegas. I was doing school for like almost 6, 7 years, I'd say. And then we moved back to California, and I got into healthcare doing that stuff. So yeah, my 9 to 5, West Coast time. I'm always at work, so
Yeah,
I don't get as much time to play as people might think.
Yeah, dude, 100%, man. It's, for somebody who has like such a big presence out there, like online, it's true. Like people don't really appreciate that, you're trying to fit in streams whenever you can amidst all of your other responsibilities. And, so when you're working at these jobs too, are you part of like a large IT department where it's you and a bunch of other people in the same role? Or are you kind of like a lone wolf at the place you're at now where you're the one guy to go to for all the issues?
Oh, this one's kind of mixed. So like I have like the one thing that I'm in charge of, and I make sure it runs smoothly. And if it doesn't, I go fix it. But I also answer pretty much all the other calls as well. So like if someone's monitor doesn't work, I go fix it. But if like a network goes down in another office, I go there and fix it. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of multiple things. But when I worked at CCSD out in Vegas, I was in charge of the whole school. So I was one of the few techs that actually handled 3 schools. I was the only one to ever do it, and I was
Yeah.
doing that on top of trying to be popular at Madden, and on top of that, it
Yeah.
was all a bunch of things. So IT
Yeah.
world, it's so vast that you can be not busy one day and then never see your desk on
Yeah.
another. So
For
so
sure,
definitely
man.
always busy, always on top of it.
Yeah, definitely. And how frustrating is it too? Like, obviously, if you're in IT, you're like fairly tech savvy. You have like quite a bit of technological knowledge. How frustrating is it that probably like 99% of what you're dealing with is stuff that could be solved by like people being like unplugging something and plugging it back in? Like, does that
You would
grind
be
on you at all? Like dealing with people who have absolutely no tech know-how and you can't even really explain it to them how to fix stuff?
I actually cherish those people sometimes because they make my job easy and challenging at the same time. So, like for example, when I worked at CCSD, I'd have like the teachers that would call and be like, "My projector doesn't work," and I would learn that they would just not push one button. There's a button on the
Yeah.
wall that says PC, and they wouldn't push it. And so I would just go in and push it. And I'm like, "Cool, awesome." And
Yeah.
then you have the other ones that would like delete an icon on the desktop. So I wrote a program where they can hit a button and it would just make the icon. So it would challenge me to be better at programming, and then that's how I learned to program stuff on OBS. I learned how to do all
Yeah.
that while I was working
Yeah.
because I talked to text and like, how did you do that? I'm like, this is what I did, and they show me there. So those people that make technology challenging are also the reason I'm so good at it, because I got to make it easy for them. So
Yeah.
that's probably like the best way to say that is the
For
challenging
sure.
people make it better because I have to make it easier for them. Someone that's never
So
seen a
dumbing stuff
screen.
down so that the regular people with no know-how can get through their
Yep,
day without having stuff go sideways on them for sure. No, that's a good way of looking at it.
exactly.
And you
Exactly.
mentioned so you used to live in Vegas for a while. So where are you from originally? Like where were you born and raised?
So I grew up in Southern California, about 80 miles from LA, right outside of
Yeah.
Barstow, pretty much.
Okay.
I lived here for 18, 19 years, and then we moved to Houston, and
Oh, okay.
I went to college out there, and that's when I got introduced to Madden out there, pretty much. If you know the story, you know it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I moved out there for 4 years. I hated it, didn't like it at all. I had a little bit of family out there, but it was on my wife's side, and we were
Yeah.
fairly new at marriage at the time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to move back. And I went to Vegas and I got a job in one day.
Wow.
Like
Did,
I
did
applied
you did you
one
have a
place they were
job
like,
set
hey,
up before you moved, or did you move
nope,
assuming that you would be able to catch on really quick? Oh, that's a
pretty
gamble.
much
Yeah.
yeah, I pretty much just packed it up in a we had a van at the time. Got my kid with me, drove, dropped the stuff off at my parents, drove one day to Vegas, applied at one place, and 2 hours later they wanted me to work. So
Oh, beauty.
if you've ever been to the Cosmopolitan, I'm the one who hooked it all up.
Hey, there you go. Nice, man. And so how many years did you spend out in Vegas? Like, were you so obviously you were into Madden at this point because you said Houston's where you first kind of got exposed.
Yeah, Houston. If you know what like the I-10 events or all that stuff, that's when I got introduced to it out there. I was not very good at
Yeah.
all at the time. I was just like, okay, this is kind of cool. And I just played someone at work, and he was better than me, and I just wanted to be better than him, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just got better than him. And then when we moved to Vegas, it was totally different because I worked in the Venetian. I eventually got to work in the Venetian. And around that time, I don't know if anyone knows who IMAV is. Maverick, basically.
Yeah.
Masterminds is what he was called back in the day. I thought those videos were like super cool. And I was like, well, if I can get as good as him, maybe I can get people to watch me. Like I was just like trying little
Yeah, yeah.
local events out there, stuff like that. So I did that for let's see, lived in Vegas. I want to say close to 10 years
Yeah.
and stuff before we moved back here. But Vegas is where it kind of popped off for me. I
Yeah.
made a Madden Challenge event, which I don't know if you guys can see the microphone
Hey, let's go.
right there.
W.
I made it right there. So that's where it really popped off and stuff like that. And because of the job I had at the time, working at the Venetian, it was a lot of dead time, and I got to actually like study Madden at the time. So that's what made it so wonderful. Is I go to work during the dead time, I'd watch like YouTube's like, what do they do? What do they set up? Let me go home and see if I can make YouTube videos. And back then, and I had one pop off one time. I think I had like 10,000 views.
Nice.
So
Hey, the
it was
the
awesome.
the the booming days for sure, man. And we just got a big raid from my guy Hard Flats coming through. I know he was excited about the podcast, so he wanted to send his
Hard
boys over
flat.
here. So appreciate you coming through, Hard Flats. Sending the
One of my
crew.
one of our biggest people. Yeah, I like him.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Another family man too. We're both well, we're all family people now, which is kind of cool. I'm part of the dad club as well now. But so do you have one
Yeah,
kid?
yeah.
Is that correct? One kid, or how
I
big's your
have
family?
I have two kids.
Yeah.
I have a 17-year-old and a 11-year-old, which is
Oh, okay,
the ones you
nice.
always wonder in the room. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
streaming and he comes in and he says a hi or good night or whatever. It's
And
normally him.
has any of your love for Madden and competitive video games transferred over to your kids, or are they into different stuff? Are they big gamers
I'm
or?
unfortunately not. They're my youngest. He's into games, just not Madden. Like he wants to play, but only like play with me. He doesn't really care to play like online with people. He's more into the
Yeah,
Fortnite and all the other little kid stuff that's out,
yeah,
but
yeah,
not necessarily Madden. My older one doesn't really play. He's more into dirt bike racing, so he's always
yeah,
gone and dirt bike racing, and
yeah,
he
yeah,
enjoys that life, which is great. I don't want I don't want a young kid to sit in front of the screen like me for 6 7 hours grinding
yeah,
online. We can be outside,
for
enjoying
sure,
life
man.
like I did when I was a kid. So,
And living in
well,
California too, like you guys have great weather year round. It's like, it's a blessing to be able to like
yes,
go outside year round and touch grass and not have to deal with like, 4 feet of snow in the winter months too. Like I've only been to California once, but it's incredible. And Southern California in particular is like beautiful. I've never been to Barstow specifically, but I've been to like San Diego, and I've done that drive from like San Francisco all the way down, and it's yeah, a lot of great
right.
places to stop in. So when you moved back from Vegas, did you go back to Barstow again, or to like the same town that you were in before you left for Vegas?
So
Or
yep, I'm in the same town I grew up in, and we moved back here because my youngest he has autism, and we just have better programs out here for it.
yep,
And then, if anyone out there has kids with autism, they know that a lot of families is involved to help, and it just helps to have the grandparents out here. And it just ended up being, I ended up buying a house, which we couldn't get forever. And it
yeah,
ended up just kind of falling in our lap where we just got the house, and I got like 4 acres of land. Now I have a whole man cave I can stream in,
that's
which if you
awesome.
followed me for years, you've seen me stream where I would have to whisper in the microphone and people would be like, talk. I'm like, I can't because my
Yeah,
wife's asleep, kids
yeah,
asleep like 2 feet from me.
yeah, yeah. No, it's
So
true, man. It's a
now
challenge.
it's out.
I still find that like I've got a pretty nice man cave, but it's like it's an attic and it's right above where the bedrooms are, and like my wife will always be like, oh, you know what, go stream at 8 p.m. when the baby's asleep. She won't wake up, and I'm like, no, she will
Yep,
though, because all it takes is one footstep, one creaky floorboard, and she'll wake up, or me
absolutely.
coughing and she'll wake up. So I know if I'm getting hyped up on stream, it's gonna wake her up regardless. So I definitely can appreciate that, but dude, that's awesome. So you got yourself a nice little property over there and a man cave too, which we can
Yes.
see. And I know, I think I
Yes.
saw before I had cropped you, I think I
Underworld.
saw something Raiders related. So are you a big Raiders fan?
Yeah, been a Raiders fan my whole life. I know they suck. I know some of the chats are like, "Oh, they suck," and I'm not a delusional Raider fan,
Yeah,
but I don't think you guys can see it well. You can't see it in the cropped out version, but to the
yeah.
left of me, there's a Derek Carr sign thing. He's my favorite quarterback of the
Nice.
Raiders. I know I'm gonna get heat for that, but yeah,
Hey, it's
diehard
all
Raider
good.
fan. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's rough times for us, but
Yeah.
I gotta go through the rough patches to get to the good ones, I guess.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say too, like, I guess you're not really in the Bay Area like down there in the south of California, so it's not like they were your local team necessarily. Like California's a big state.
I think they
Kind of
were
more
when I
so.
was a baby because they were LA
Yeah,
Raiders,
yeah, that's right.
and they went to Oakland.
Yeah.
But
So I
yeah,
guess I was gonna ask you about like the move to Las Vegas, like if that's been a big impact. But I mean, you kind of have ties to Vegas yourself as well, so I guess maybe you might not have taken the move as hard as other people have, given the fact that you're kind of have ties in both those cities. Has that
yeah,
had any
no.
impact at all? Like, do you get out to games at all?
So when they initially moved, as a Raider fan, being in going to an Oakland game, it was heartbreaking to be like, man, you guys are leaving the city. Like, if you've ever been to an Oakland Raider game,
Yeah,
it wasn't
the
an
black
Oakland
hole,
Raider.
right? Yeah,
It was you felt the energy. It was like, okay, coming to Vegas, what's it gonna be like? I was excited because they were like literally 5 minutes down the street from where I was. It wasn't that hard. The
yeah,
tickets were outrageous,
yeah, yeah,
so I could never afford them, but I had
yeah,
connections that helped me. But but yeah, I've got to get to a Raider game out there, and the stadium's beautiful. But I think the atmosphere is just different. Like people are
yeah,
there to see a football game, they're not there to see a Raider game yet,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
and so it's I think Las Vegas is more of a hockey town. I'm a big
Yeah,
hockey guy. A lot if
yeah. The
any of my
Vegas
past
Golden
you've
Knights,
seen any
new
stuff,
expansion franchise. Yeah,
when they came out there, they were huge. I'm actually a New York Ranger fan,
yeah,
but back in the day, I played for the Ducks a whole long time ago when I actually looked like I could play sports.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, they turned into a whole hockey town, so it was kind of hard when the football team went there.
yeah,
Everyone was so hockey gun ho. They weren't very accepting of the Raiders, and so only us diehard Raider fans were really excited. But I think it's winning over as
yeah,
we go on and stuff like that, especially with the new coach.
yeah,
The
for
new coach
sure.
has definitely brought back the Raider vibe, and this year I think it'll be one of the first years we've been in Vegas that's going to feel like a real Raider team. So
Yeah, definitely. And I haven't been to Vegas for a few years. Like I've been twice in my life, and I went with my wife. I've never done like a boys' weekend in Vegas, so I haven't done like the crazy, Hangover Part Two type of deal or whatever. But I think they were building the hockey stadium when I was there, and I could see it from the outside. It wasn't finished yet, but I was like, man, this is impressive. Like it's like everything in Vegas is so overblown. Like even that massive like eye thing that they have now, where U2 is performing in, like
oh,
it's crazy, man. And it's funny to think that going back, I mean, my grandmother used to go to Vegas every single year. Like she even when she was wheelchair bound, she'd still go to Vegas, get pushed around and gamble and do all that stuff. And my family's got real ties there, but it's a fun place to be at for sure. Now, I mean, also it could be a challenging place to be at too. Like you think about like gambling, everything open 24 hours a day down there. Like I mean, you were a family man at this time too, but like for a lot of people, I imagine Vegas would probably be the worst possible place to live if you have like some vices that you're dealing with, right?
it can definitely be that place. It's I always tell people it's weird when you live there because it's like you get off work, you don't really want to go
Yeah,
gamble. You want to go home.
yeah,
At least for me, I want to
exactly.
go home and chill. I was in my 30s or late 20s, early
Yeah,
30s at the time. It was kind of like, I really don't want to go out and party. I'd rather go home with the wife, spend some time with the kid.
yeah,
But it was nice because when family or friends would come, I'd be like, well, where are you staying at? I mean, I'll
yeah,
come and hang out. And then that's when
yeah,
I took that time as like, okay, that's my vacation.
yeah, for
It was
sure.
kinda able to separate it for me, But yeah, I mean, I've known people that they would get off work and they go gamble their paycheck, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, dude.
But,
It's
you know
it's tough, man. It's you know what? It's crazy, and there's like temptations all over the place. But it's you can do Vegas many different ways too. You can do like the high roller experience, where like you're like going to like clubs and it's expensive as hell, and you got to
absolutely.
pay cover. Or you can do it super cheap too. Like you can go to places in like the old town, and you can get a prime rib dinner for like $4 down there
Oh,
somewhere.
yeah.
Like there's little hidden gems. So
Vegas,
it's a fun place
believe
to
it or
get.
not, I would surprise people in telling Vegas is actually very cheap when I lived there,
Yeah,
unless you go like directly on the strip, obviously. But
yeah,
just outside the strip, it was very cheap. It's very low key, like paying East Coast prices for stuff. It was very
yeah,
like I used to like a steak dinner when I lived there was like $13 for a huge steak dinner and
yeah,
all that stuff. It's not like that now, but it
yeah.
was when I lived there.
Oh, for sure, man. There's a place that I went to last time we were there. My wife and I went, and I'm assuming it's still there. It seems like it's been a staple that's been around for a long time. Have you ever heard of? I think it's called Batista's Hole in the Wall. Have you ever been to that place? It's like right on the edge
I've
of the
heard of it,
strip.
but I've never been there. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
end of the strip, right? Yeah.
I
I've
remember
never been
like
there.
yeah, we had like I mean two pasta dinners, and they were like incredible portions, like unlimited bread. They give you a bottle of red wine, a bottle of white wine. It's like all you can drink. They keep refilling it. And I swear we paid like $20 a piece, and I had like probably the most deluxe meal that I've ever had in my life. And then there's some old like 95-year-old man with an accordion walking around entertaining you too. And I was like, dude, this is crazy, man.
Right,
Only in
right.
Vegas, and he's probably been doing that for like 50 years too. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely a
exactly.
cool place to visit. And I'd recommend anybody to go out
Absolutely.
there at some point.
Absolutely.
But so you talked about your career, you talked about your family. So you got two kids, wife and two kids. You also started to talk a little bit about how you kind of got into Madden like around your time when you were spending in Houston, and that kind of interest grew in your time in Vegas. So, what is your experience like, kind of with the comp scene? Because I know that's something you've been really interested in, is being able to prove yourself on a competitive stage.
So
So describe your experience with Madden comp, I guess.
so it's a little crazy because a lot of people that went to a lot of underground stuff actually know who I am because I won a lot of underground stuff. Like around when Problem was around, I go to those
Yep.
events. They would see me and stuff. When I went to Vegas, I got to know someone. If you guys know who runs Madden Underground, his name is Brian. I went to a lot of his events in LA, and I won a lot of tournaments. I got to know him. I played online a lot, so I won a lot of underground events, which is why a lot of people got to actually kind of know who I was. And when Virgin Gaming was around, you could play online, so I won pretty decent back then.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, I think I can do this. And there was a time period where um I didn't have a job for a while, and I had to win events to pay rent and
Yeah.
pay stuff, and it was very hard at the time because I was like, I'm applying for jobs, I don't know what to do, but if
Yeah.
I play this game for $20, I can pretty sure win 100 each day. I
Yeah.
was doing that for probably a year or two, and then I finally got a good job, and it kind of went
Yeah.
away. But that's when I was like, okay, I can compete at this level. This was like '08 until '13, all
Yeah.
those Maddens in
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
there, when I thought Madden was really great and fun. But that's really when I was like, okay, I can do this. And then there came a time when, my kids were a certain age and my wife was like tired of seeing me play Madden for 18 hours a day. And
Yeah.
I literally would, I wasn't, looking back, I wasn't that great of a husband. And I try to tell people this, that
Yeah.
we and her had a conversation. It was like, hey, pick Madden, pick me, what do you want to do? And there
Yeah.
was a shift in the thing where I wasn't going to play comp. Okay, I'm going to run Madden leagues.
Yeah.
And so I ran Madden leagues through Shocker. That's how I got to know Shocker 360. If anyone knows who he is, I ran a league, and if you guys know who TD Barrett is,
Oh
he
yeah.
joined the league, and he won it like 2 years in a row as the Jaguars, I want to say.
Yeah.
Um, and so I started running that Madden, like, okay, I don't need to be comp. I'm not going to be the W's of the world or the Skimbos or whatever. I'm not on that level. I don't have that expertise. I got to go to work. But
Yeah.
I
For
can
sure.
go around the side tournaments that were in Vegas that I would run, whether it was Game Sharks, whether it was local places there, and I would run the tournaments there and meet the players and play into some here or there, and I'd win those tournaments. But when I
Yeah.
went to the major tournaments, I never could get on that level at that time to play because I was running leagues, all the time.
Yeah.
That's all I would do.
Yeah. No,
And
for
then I
sure.
want to say Madden 18, it was like, you know what? I think I want to try comp. I did not know anything about MUT. I
Yeah.
knew zero. I knew how to hit triangle,
Because
like to
this
get your
was all
best
regs
team.
back in the day, right? Like all the tournaments back in
Yes,
the day would have been regs. Yeah.
they were all regs. The ones that I was in and was good at was all regs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I moved to MUT, I sucked at MUT. Anyone who watched me play those, I was not very good. I was good at the gameplay, but I didn't know, hey, you can take this card and upgrade this card.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, someone I used to be competitive with, his name is Smooth. You guys would know him as Smooth. He's UG Smooth. Um, he actually saw me playing. He's like, "Man, you'd probably be really good if you knew how to use Ultimate Team." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, show me." So he showed me the cards, what to upgrade, what to do. And I want to say it was like Madden 19 or Madden the end of 18. I was like, okay, I think I know enough where I can actually probably play these people and
Yeah.
make these events. And that's when I started trying to play higher competitions. I started actually trying to make EA events, and I would fall one game short or two games
Yeah.
short. And I would tell people like, I think if I had the time that these people had, I
Yeah.
probably could do it because I was only playing, and people don't realize this. I was only playing 2 hours a night. I would get on home, go
Yeah.
to do what I need to do, spend time with the wife, get on, play for 2 hours of MUT that people grinded for 8 hours,
Yeah.
and then try and play
Which
and
most
make
people
the
would
event.
think, 2 hours of video games, like for like somebody who's working a 9 to 5 job with a family, you're like, that's reasonable. Like that's, whatever. But like people don't
I
understand,
was
like
really
it is
trying.
a full time grind. Like the way that Ultimate Team is built, like even as a casual gamer, like I've never been a comp guy. I have no aspirations to be comp, but even to have a competitive team, it almost does feel like you have to take on a second job to do it. It's not like regs where you just hop in and pick up a pre-made team and you're good to go. It's like you got to put hours and hours in just to even get in
Yeah,
the point where you can play a game and stand a chance. So it's I mean, there's something
exactly.
toxic about the nature of the game mode in general, which is why I'm kind of glad to hear that they're
Absolutely.
bringing the regs event back. I think for this year, I heard
Yeah,
there's gonna be at least one regs tournament. So, I mean, I guess that's a step in the right
I was
direction.
happy. And then so yeah, I got into to the comp, and I was like, I think I can do this. And then during during the pandemic, which was around the 1920,
Yeah,
Madden
yeah,
1920,
yeah,
whatever, I was like, I probably can't do this. I had a lot of doubt in my mind. A lot of people saw the interview that went crazy at that time because I yelled at EA, I yelled at everyone, like, this is
yeah,
insane, you know. Because then I was like, well, I'm gonna try and get viewers to try and make money to try and do this because I can't compete with these,
yeah, yeah,
Henrys of the world that can play this for 18 hours and homeschooled, and they're
yeah,
just good. They're really good.
yeah,
Even W, who plays it, is still really good. I played him a lot, and he's still really good. And I can't compete, so I was like, well, let me transition
yeah,
to see if I can do this stream one and just have fun with it. Just
yeah,
forget trying to be that good. I still obviously want to be good. I don't want to always
yeah.
get online and get my butt kicked. No one does, right?
Exactly.
But
It's never fun to lose. I mean, we can deal with
it's
some,
not
but
fun to
it's
lose,
yeah, 100%.
especially when you know you can beat people. But
Yeah, yeah,
and that's when I've transitioned after that to like, let's try and make funny content. Let's try and do something to get people to come here. Because
yeah,
I was told by, believe it or not, I luckily got some good advice from Fendler
yeah,
after I pretty much dissed everyone at EA. And he was just like, dude,
yeah,
just be yourself. I've been in your stream. Like, I don't understand why there's not so many people here. As long as you
yeah,
talk, you're good. And that was probably the best advice I had because I literally used to sit there and just stare at the thing and be like, "There's no one here. What am I doing?"
yeah.
And he's like, "Dude, just talk." And that's when it all came about with me talking and me just sitting there, kind of rapping stuff.
Yeah. You never
And then,
know who that one viewer that you see sitting there is. You never know when somebody with a little bit of pull or with an opportunity is going to be coming through and be like, man,
absolutely,
this guy's got some juice. He just needs that little bit of an extra push, or a platform maybe that can kind of get him to that point that he wants to be at. So it's been how have you found the transition from being like a competitive
and
gameplay guy to a content guy? Like,
one thing I
yeah,
want to say too, I don't want to forget. I did watch Big Cat for like 3 or 4 years, and he changed my opinion on a lot of things because I used to think when you would stream, you would have to be. It's gonna sound weird that you'd have to be nice like all the time, like hi streamer, hi chat, hi how are you, and
yeah,
oh I just played a great game, what a wonderful game. I was like, that was my mentality thinking that I had to be a streamer. Then I saw Big Cap stream and I was like, this dude is not your
yeah,
typical guy. Like he's not. Like me and the story of Big Cap is like the first time I met him, I called him an asshole. It's a very funny story. I was like, dude, you're an asshole. And he's like, dude, you don't know me.
yeah,
And then over time, I got to kind of know him. And I was like, okay, I kind of get it. You don't have to be all this cheery all the time. You can just kind of be yourself and let yourself unravel into it. So
For
he's
sure.
honestly a lot of the part why a lot of me got to be fearless in the way of when I rap or when I talk stuff or when I have that fun where I can be silly and be fun and be attacking at people, but not so attacking where people think I'm an asshole all the time.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
He's
And
a
you know,
big part
Kep
of that reason.
for
I don't think
sure.
he knows that.
Oh no, no, no. Kep's honestly like a gem, and he was on. You know, he's been on a million of my sports podcasts. He's like a regular contributor on a lot of the podcasts that I do, and I have done the around the Gjallarhorn with him too, where I sit down and tell his story. And I think we had like a 2 hour
Yeah,
talk, and you know he really opened up. And you know, for somebody who can be seem like a prickly cactus on the outside, he's actually a really approachable dude and genuinely interested
he's
in
really
helping
cool.
people. And that's why I was glad to see you guys match up, you know, in Bot Wars just last year. And how did that come about? So that opportunity to be on Bot Wars, did you
Yeah.
have to kind of campaign to get a spot on there? Because I know there's a lot of people fighting for those primetime spots.
So so I saw when he first did it, I was like, man, this is really cool. It's really entertaining. It's fun. It's what if you could be live and have an event, it's what anyone would want. You could talk shit, you could have fun, and just enjoy the game, whether you win or lose. And the biggest thing I thought of it when I first watched, like the first one, was whether the person won or lost really wasn't the value of the entertainment. It was what they
Yeah,
said, how they did it.
yeah,
Because there was a game between like two of the young guns. I want to say Salty and I can't think of the other guy, but they were really young kids and they were super boring to watch. And he would just
yeah,
keep cutting the scenes to other stuff
yeah,
until
yeah,
they would talk shit. And then once they talked like shit to each other, it started being fun. I was like, okay,
yeah.
this is kind of cool.
He's like the
I
puppet
get it.
master. He has to kind of give them that little poke, be
Get it.
like, yeah, we don't care if you can score 50 points in a Madden game. We care, are you going to keep us entertained?
Exactly.
100%.
Can he be entertaining? And so that's when I was like, well, I think I can be entertaining. I think if I can get in front of these people and they can see the other side of me that they don't really see, because I don't have any eyes on there, I think I can do it. I think I can get in front of W. I think I can do this. And what happened, I think the reason is I played Rag. And what's funny is I watched Rag for a while
Yeah,
and we played once before he knew who I was, and we had a very similar style. Like I would run
yeah,
with my QB, obviously, right? After I learned from the
yeah,
King, by the way, the King taught me how to run with the QB and do that style.
yeah.
'Cause he's a Vegas native, by the way.
Oh,
But
yeah.
played Rag, and we had one of the most entertaining games on his stream. And I think it's him that went to W and was like, "Hey, this dude's pretty good. He played me pretty well," and kind of dug that
Yeah,
into the ear, but because I never had someone, I don't want to say high caliber, but someone other than Rag kind of being in his W's ear,
yeah,
like, hey, this guy can play. If he wants to play, he can actually play.
yeah.
And then when one of the services came out, I can't think of the name at the moment, but you can bet on games when people would play. They
Like
offered me a
Gamers Saloon or like Players Lounge or something like that, or one of those ones, or
yeah, it's one of the
something
ones
like
you
that.
can you
Yeah,
can bet on. And they came to me and wanted me to play, and I was like, yeah, I'll play. And me and Kep ended up matching up at the same level, and I don't know, I lucked up a few times to be honest, and I ended up beating him, and it became a rivalry.
yeah,
And the fact that people saw that I could actually talk shit when I wanted to, I wasn't offended by anything that Kep said. I could take it. I
yeah,
think they realized like I'm not just this sit back guy. I can take it. I'm not soft as people want me to think they are. And I
yeah,
think when they saw when W went to my Twitter, one of the rap videos kind of blew up. I went at
yeah,
someone for fun, just to make fun of him, and he liked it. I think that's what caught on. He's like, maybe I can put this guy in there, and they vouched for me. And whoever did vouch for me, whoever did put that in W's ear, I really appreciate it because that was very fun. I was very nervous that whole time when he said he was going to be on it. I
yeah,
was like, which angle do I approach this at? Am I going to just be entertaining? Am I going to be like, okay, I want to really win this game? Do I want to
yeah,
run with my QB? Do I want to run meta? Like, what do I want to do? And it was just the opportunity was awesome just to be on there because yeah, I wanted it for so long. I did promo videos. I tried everything
yeah,
I could
man,
to try to get W's attention
for
to be
sure.
like, bro, I want this. I'm not just a one time. It wasn't just a one time video. I have
Yeah,
like WWF promos. I have me calling at W. I
yeah,
have me calling at all the people that played. Obviously, the Bobby V thing went crazy, and I don't think people realize how much respect I had for Bobby V, and it just all went probably the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And it kind of blew up in the way I didn't want it to.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that kind of all boiled over.
But you know what? Nobody can say that Level MP doesn't know how to cut a promo. I will say, like, and this is just on a personal side. Like, when I'm going into work in the morning, like, we're in different time zones, so I don't know what time you're posting your videos. Like, when you post a freestyle video, and I'm going into work, it's like 7:30 in the morning. It's miserable weather. I'm in Canada. It's like winter time, and I see on my morning commute on the streetcar that there's a new Level MP freestyle dropping. Normally, it's in Discord. Someone's like, "Yo, check out the new Level MP freestyle." It'll be somebody will send it to me. I'm like, dude, yes, this is what I need. I'll just put my phone up to my ear, listen to it on the way in. I'll be in the streetcar. I'll be laughing. Like everyone's looking at me like I'm insane. But like I love that stuff, man. I love that you put yourself out there and make this music and
Yeah,
just kind
that's
of
proud
speak
of
from
me.
the heart. When did so I got to talk because there's not a lot of people. People might try. They might be like, okay, obviously he's not going to be able to like hold a candle to like Eminem or something. But most people out here would not be able to put together a 4 minute song or rap regardless.
So
And it does feel like sometimes you go kind of off the top of the head too freestyle. And so, what's your connection with hip
pretty
hop music? When did that become a thing where you make music and make rhymes?
So pretty much, a lot of people won't know this, but when I was younger, I was actually a poet. Like not like I turned in poetry to my poetry teacher, and he
Yeah,
thought it
yeah,
was great. I'm actually a published poet. I could have went into poetry. I could have went into ghostwriting. I could have done all that. I could have got scholarships. Could have done all that. I can when I want to write really good stuff.
yeah,
Um, and I've always been a fan of hip hop. I've always been a fan of rap. I thought it was just a way to vocalize stuff that you can articulate out there and in a way that people can see, like whether it's hatred, whether it's love, whatever, you can make it fun. And it is true when you guys see me on there doing the raps, it's literally me sitting there for 5 minutes thinking of it right there. I don't
yeah,
sit for weeks.
yeah.
And even when I don't know how to say the name Chada or whatever, when he
Oh,
like came at me with the weird
Manuel
stuff, right?
Chanta, dude.
Yeah, there
That
you go.
was
Manuel Chanta.
Manuel Chanta. I don't know who this guy is, but I saw like, dude, that was the most insane thing. I was like, there's a
I was,
guy with no face who putting out a random YouTube channel with one video, and it's a counter. It's like a
it's
battle
fun.
rap back at you. I was like, dude, what is this? What world am I in right now? It was
So
entertaining though. I had
so
fun with it. Yeah,
so when that happened, I was like, wow, okay. And so the diss track that went back to him, I literally just did it like the next day in the next 5 minutes. It wasn't like I sat there for a week trying to write
yeah,
this.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but yeah, it just comes off the dome. Sometimes what I do is I'll Google just a random like rap beat.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
sit and make the beats, right? And then I'll write whatever I think. And then sometimes the beat will keep going, and I'm like, well, I'm out of rhymes. I'll just keep going. Like I don't
yeah,
know. Who knows where it's gonna go?
yeah,
And a lot of it at the time, I had a lot of negativity, and it was just a way to kind of get it out. Like, hey, like this is how I feel about this person. This is what I see. Do I hate the person in real life? Probably not. No,
yeah.
but it was good to get it out and kind of entertainment. If I saw the person in real life, if anyone's met me in real life at a tournament, they would see that I'm not very like
Confront.
I'm
You're not a
very laid back.
confrontational dude. Yeah, for sure.
I'm a very laid back guy. Like I'm gonna go up and shake your hand, ask how you are. I'm not gonna just start dissing you, especially if I don't know you. So like if I ever saw anyone that I dissed, I'd just buy them a beer. We'd have a good chat, stuff like that. It's really just an entertainment platform for y'all, just to kind
Yeah,
of enjoy it and realize that if I wanted, what's funny is I wanted someone besides him to kind of come at me, kind of come back at me,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and no one did.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's true. Like you might get a comment, catch a stray or something after one of your freestyles comes out. But like, yeah, it's hard to go and have a beef with Manuel Chanta because no, he's a mysterious online personality. It's like, dude, who is this guy?
Yeah,
His picture on
I was.
Twitter is like something made in Microsoft Paint. He's got this
Yeah,
crazy auto tune. I was like, dude, but you know what? The fact that you struck a chord with at least one person, right? Like that's the thing too. Like you might not have 50,000 views on a video or be making money off those raps or whatever, but the fact that you can strike a chord with somebody where they take note of you enough that they want to spend time out of their day to create something and kind of have that back and forth with you, I think
yeah,
it's kind of special.
absolutely.
That's a connection that you can make where I feel like that's kind of a
Absolutely.
special thing. So I hope for one that you continue making these raps, and I will always be tuned in. I think you dropped two of them. You had a double release day the other day. I've only heard one of them so far.
Yeah, so I did one that was kind of a diss about something that just like went on the past like few days.
Yep,
That I was just like, I need to blow this off. Let's just get this out of there. And I got
yep,
it out. And then I've people have been asking me to do like a positive one about how I feel about certain things. And I
Yeah.
was like, all right, I'll just boom, I just did it, and it sounded okay, and I did it. What a lot of people don't know, there's probably about 30 raps that aren't on there because
Yeah.
I'd go in and what I do is I post it, and then once it's posted, I'll re-listen to it like a little bit. I'll be
Yeah.
like, is this person really gonna get offended? Is this person gonna really think that I think this? And some of the time, I really take it down because I'm like, I don't want people really thinking that like I'm gonna hate this person, or if I
Yeah.
go in
Yeah.
on someone's characteristics or whatever, that I really beef with them because I don't. I might have when I was 20,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
38. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
have there's not many people I beef with. It's really just entertainment. And so when I pretty much post it up and I kind of see where it's at about the middle of the day.
Yeah.
If it's only got like 10 views, I'm like, all right, I didn't really hit anyone. If
Yeah.
one day I don't even remember which one it was. I went to work the next day. I did some work and it was at like 2,000. I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
who the hell saw this?
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy, man. To think like
So you just never
that's a
know.
big platform, and it might not always equate to money coming in, but it is like it is influence, it is reach, and it's cool to think that people are taking even a second out of their day to click on something that you put out there. Um,
And I
you know,
and I think that's one thing that people misconstrued is even though I say, man, I want people to view this or it looks like I'm down in views. I don't really want to put out a video where I make $1 million. It's not the point of the when I
yeah,
put something out. I just
yeah,
want someone to see it and laugh or
yeah,
see it and just like you see it,
yeah,
you
yeah,
laugh,
dude, I
you
love it.
refresh it, you go, hey man, I appreciate it. That's worth more than anything. Like I
Yeah.
don't think people realize the value of just saying, hey, that was cooler. Or
Oh,
even
dude,
if someone did
I've played some of them for my wife. She has no idea about the Madden community. She knows like names that I talk about. She knows like people like she knew about Luch and Up and Adam and guys that I've actually like met like that are from Toronto, and
yeah,
she knows all the names that I talk about. I'm like, oh yeah, go Geezy this
I
whatever,
like them too.
But I showed her once. She saw me laughing on my phone. I was sitting there on the couch. She's like probably cooking dinner, and she sees me laughing. And she's like, what is it? What is it? And she thought I'm looking at some Instagram reel or something. I was like, dude, this is Level MP just dropped a new freestyle today. She's like, who's what's Level MP? So she's actually
That's
sat
the
down
first
and
thing
watched it.
people
She's like,
say.
no, this is hilarious. This is great. So now whenever a new freestyle comes out, I show it to her too, and she doesn't know the references and the innuendos and like the insider, stuff that you're
What
talking about that I would,
yeah,
but she still appreciates it. So,
what's
um,
funny is in a lot of those raps, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know.
oh yeah. Well, sometimes it's like maybe the one person that you're directing it to might know exactly what you're talking about. Sully says he
Exactly.
has insider information. I mean, even I, a lot of the time, like I feel like I'm pretty plugged into the Madden community, but like, being a family man myself, being a guy who works 9 to 5 as like a teacher too, like I really struggle to find time to like stream. Like I feel like I streamed less this past year. Like I'm so invested in streaming and like content creation, but I probably had less time than ever to commit to it because obviously the first couple of
It's
years I got
rough.
into it was COVID. We had I was working from home. I had a lot more time in the day to do content. I could do like a YouTube video every day. Still spend time with my family. I didn't have a daughter at this point either. Now it's like I'm so invested, but the time is not there. So
I get
it's just it's just funny like
that.
trying to
I mean,
balance the work life balance is difficult for sure.
absolutely. And people don't like when I stream overnight. When you guys see me, normally when I get off, I have to wake up in like 3 hours.
Oh dude, and that's tough too. Like it's tough to function. Like I
It's
don't care what
hard.
job you do, if you're on the hook and you're responsible for something, it's hard to go on limited sleep, and it does catch up with you because I'm sure you go through it and I go through it. There's a few weeks every year where I go through that supreme burnout where you're like, man, I'm burning the candle at both
Absolutely.
ends. You got to
And that's
sacrifice
what
one
people.
thing or the other.
That's what people. I don't think people realize. Like I've been on Twitch since it was Justin TV. Like I didn't just try this for like a year and be like, "Oh man, I suck at this. It's cool." I've tried for
Yeah,
10 years. I've tried
yeah,
to figure it out. I've tried to learn I've tried everything.
yeah,
And so at the end of the day, sometimes I do get like that. I'm like, what am I doing this for? And
yeah.
then
Oh
all of a
dude,
sudden one random day, it just happens, and I just have a good
yeah.
day and I'm like, okay, this is what I do it for.
Exactly, man. And I totally feel you on that, and I feel like that's just a human condition. Like we need that instant gratification. We need that like pat on the back, being like you're doing a good job, you're doing the right thing. It's not always going to manifest. You'll see some people, and I know some of your raps have been about this too. You'll see some people with a meteoric rise where it feels like they just picked up streaming and they immediately take off to a point where they're successful and partnered and
Yeah,
profitable right off the bat. And then you see the guys who are out there grinding in the trenches doing everything
yeah,
they can within their power, but either because we don't have enough time to do it or because we don't have the resources or maybe
absolutely.
just maybe the natural whatever it is that people gravitate towards could be an age thing, who knows. I find I do get into that. Like it's most of the time I can be like, okay, you know, I find setting individual goals for each podcast or for each stream,
Yeah,
little individual
you're
goals. It
doing a
could be
great
even,
job, by the way. You're
hey,
doing outstanding.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. But no, you know, I found like setting things that I can control, like goals that I can control, are helpful. But
Yes,
like if I have a
absolutely.
goal, like I'm not gonna get off stream till I get 100 followers, I might be following, I might be streaming for a month straight. So like, you know,
I've done that before.
yeah, dude. So yeah,
Totally
sometimes so there's some things that are just not out of in your control. So you know we got to work within what we got, and you know I'll be rooting for you and pulling
absolutely.
for you in the journey too, man.
No,
But
it's
just
good.
know
And
you're not the only person who goes through like the insecurities and like the wondering like what the heck's going on. Do I need to call it quits for sure?
yeah,
Sometimes it's just
sometimes
a
like
reimagining. Yeah,
yeah, and that's what I want people to understand too. Like sometimes when I see it, I'm not really discouraged in the way of like, God, why did that guy get the fame? I'll look at what he did and I'll be like, well, maybe I can do something like that. Like pick
yeah,
some inspiration up. A lot of my inspiration, a lot of my stuff comes from watching other streams. What they do, what
yeah,
do they do well? What does W do? What does Fender do? What does Murphy do? What
yeah,
is it in their? What do they each do differently that attracts their people? And
yeah.
I guess my stitch was just I had to pick up a microphone and start rapping.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you know what? Sully says he has insider information in the chat. He says that Level MP is planning on dropping a Murphy D55 diss track immediately after the podcast. So I don't know if that song is already locked and loaded. I'll be putting my my Google alerts on and watching to see if any diss track indeed drops. But you know what? I'll be a good sport about it regardless. I might even get in the booth and record my own response. No, I don't think I could do it, man. That's a different skill set that's outside of my realm of experience. But you know, I wanted to talk about pivoting because you know
Yeah.
Madden's been your focus for a long time, but then you've also been kind of like engaging in this new community on Twitch with darts. So how did that come about, and how are you enjoying that transition to doing more streams, kind of in line with that?
So it's a funny story because if anyone knows, I played Madden forever, like every single day, all the time. It was Madden, 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 right? And this last year, it was just like I really didn't have fun with this game. Like
Yeah,
I was decent enough, it was kind of okay, and then I was like, this kind of sucks. I want to kind of do something else. And
yeah,
where I was working at, they were like, "Oh, well, we play darts in a league," and I'm like, "What do you mean a league? Like, I don't get it." So I went one time, and like, oh, they actually play a league of darts. Like you would think league of bowling or like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
whatever, right? So I was like, "Cool." So I got into it, and I went and played a bit, and I was like, "I kind of like this," and I'm like, "I'm gonna get a dartboard for home," right?
yeah,
And one of the guys was like, "Well, what dartboard are you looking at?" And I'm like, "Well, this one." They're like, "Nah, don't get that one. It's called a grand board, GRAN, and then board."
yeah.
And I looked it up, and you can play people online through your app. And I was like, "Wait
That's
a minute,
crazy.
you can play people online like head to head?" And
Yeah,
he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, shit, I'm gonna do that then." Like, so
yeah,
I saved up some money, and instead of buying packs in Madden, I bought the grand board, and I bought the cheap one. I'm not rolling in
yeah,
dough
yeah,
over here, people.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know, I bought it, and I ended up playing just like I don't know the first week. I think I played 6 hours on stream of darts, and it went by so fast, and I ended up getting like 20, 30 views just on the first time I did it.
yeah,
And I was like, "Oh, like, is this what people want?" Because I think with Madden, I would be so locked in, I would just not focus on chat sometimes and be locked in. Whereas
yeah,
when I'm throwing the dart, I'm talking the whole time, or you see
yeah.
me moving, I can
Just
move.
like you're at the
I am,
bar with your boys and like playing and like
yeah.
bantering back and forth. It's like that's the kind of it lends itself to that for sure.
And the person will throw, and the person can't hear me, but the chat can. So I'm like, God, I hope this guy misses. Oh, fuck this guy. Like
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
can't hear me, but
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
having fun. So I
Exactly.
think it brought a different atmosphere, and I ended up wanting to be really good. Like when I first got it, so there's levels, and basically the low levels like C, C, and the top levels like S. Okay,
Yeah.
I was like a CC. So basically, like your beginner Madden that just picked up the game that's
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
on rookie. I played it for 6 hours a night for about 4 or 5 months,
Yeah.
right? And I ended up gradually getting better. I ended up finding people who were like the W's of like
The Dart
the
World.
sport that would
Yeah.
come in and play me for hours. I'm like, well, what do I do? How do I get better? Where do I shoot? What do I do? And they helped me. And it just ended up being a community that was like, well, this is way different from my Madden community. And like a lot of the people I talk to in my community are good people, but there is a lot of the other people that come in that are salty, like, dude, you suck, dude, you this, dude, you that, just those people that come in
Yeah,
randomly.
yeah. The
I didn't
trolls.
get a lot of that in the dart world. I got a
Yeah.
lot of the opposite. Like, hey, we want you here. Hey, do this. Hey, do that. And if anyone knows my Madden career, I've always wanted to run tournaments. I've been very vocal about I want to be in tournaments. I want to run them. I don't really want to
Yeah.
be in them. I want to run them.
Yeah.
And so what happened is I started getting in tournaments onto the Grand Board, seeing how they worked, and I noticed like these people don't know how to run tournaments. They're not very good at it. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to follow
Yeah.
up on games. They would just like lose their game and leave the tournament. I'm like, well, yeah, of course nobody wants to play in your tournament because you don't finish it.
Yeah.
And so I got to know them, and Grandboard was coming out with a tournament feature, and I ended up I ended up
Hmm.
getting to know a developer
Yeah.
that was going to develop the tournament side. I'm like, I would like to run this, man. I can do it. Let me try it on, not your app, but let me try to run these off the thing. I think I ran it for about 3 months, and I ended up getting 20 to 30 people all the time signing
Yeah.
up for my tournaments because I would
That's
stream
awesome.
them. I'd play in them. I'd talk. I'd make it fun. I'd make leaderboards. I'd make a
Yeah.
reason to play.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's just what brought the fun. Is like this is what Madden used to be like for me. Like I used to get
Yeah.
on and just have fun, win, lose, whatever. I didn't care. I just wanted to play
Yeah. Yeah.
and run the tournaments, and so that's really where it came from. And so I have a major back issue, right?
Yeah.
So I can't stand a long time, so I can't bowl, I can't do a lot of stuff. So when I could do the darts, I think it was kind of cool. I was like, okay, throw a few darts for like a few hours. I can sit for 15 minutes, talk about some stuff, and then
Yeah.
throw darts again. I could take that break. And it
Yeah.
ended
Yeah.
up being wonderful. And yeah, we went to Vegas actually in a dart tournament, and pretty much no one thought we'd win because we were new, and we ended up 16 out of like 128 people. It was really cool.
That's awesome,
And
man.
then I also won like a side shoot. Like, have you ever been to like we'll just say like a Madden tournament
Yeah.
and just pretend that they take another side shoot of people, like 16 of them, and they go, "You guys are gonna play for like $1,000." Cool. I ended
Yeah.
up winning one of those.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
My first time going, so I was like, "Well, this is
Yeah.
kind of fun. This is cool." And one thing so I went to compare it, it's kinda weird because I've always dreamed of going to the Madden Belt stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I went this year with Henry, and I think I was very vocal about how I felt when I went. If
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
ever seen me talk about it. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, "This is way different from when I was going when I was younger. This is just a different crowd." Like, I didn't feel the vibe. I wasn't really in
Yeah.
it as much as I thought I was. When I
Yeah.
went to the Vegas one, it was like a completely different vibe because gonna sound weird. I was with a lot of people my age. They were
Yeah.
drinking, they were having fun, they were doing that. Hey, let me teach you this, let me teach you that. It was like a very welcoming community.
For sure.
Not saying that the Madden one wasn't, but I just wasn't in that bubble of that
It's a different
era
thing. Like
where it
I totally feel like that too sometimes. Like I feel like, you look at, the average people, like if you look at the top 16 people or whatever that go to a live event, and the average age
yeah,
of these guys are just out of high school. Some of them like Dez are teenagers still, like it's it kind of is a
yeah,
young man's game to some degree. A lot of sports games are like that where it trends younger. And a lot of the
yeah,
stuff
it's
is all guys who
exactly,
grew up playing online, but like online in that I'm playing in my room at my setup, never face to face. Whereas
exactly.
you grew up kind of face to face,
Always
in the
face to face,
circuit,
yeah,
playing in Vegas or playing in Houston or whatever, and going around to different
yeah.
events in person. So, that is kind of like a sign of the times, and the fact that you're finding a community now that kind of fits with where you're at now is a really cool
So
thing.
yeah,
And
it
I,
was
yeah,
it was
definitely.
wonderful. So
I
and
always
believe
get
it
that
or
imposter
not,
syndrome when I'm trying to like fit in with the younger crowd. I'm like, okay, you know what? Like I
I do.
enjoy the company of all these people, but I also know that I'm like the grandfather in the room too. Like I realize that
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not a peer. I'm a an elder statesman to some degree with limited knowledge of what it's actually like for these guys. Growing up in
Yeah,
a post-COVID world. It's
yeah,
interesting.
and you know what's crazy is I didn't realize how many people in the dart world actually played Madden too. Actually, there's some
Yeah,
old heads that I was playing darts with, and they're like, "You look familiar," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I play Madden," and they're like, "Yeah, I know you," and I was like, "Oh, well, that's cool."
yeah,
So believe it or not, there are people from Madden community in darts, and I think that's kind of why it kind of binds. So
yeah,
that's pretty much how that went about. And though Madden will always be my number one game, I'll stream until it
yeah,
literally becomes something I don't want to do. I think darts is there when I'm tired of playing Madden, and I'll be like, "All right, let's do something else. I can play darts."
for sure,
So the thing's
man.
kind of cool.
That was something that was important to me. Like, this year, for example, like if you hop on Madden now, there's nobody watching Madden because college football's out. It's like the directory's
Yeah,
completely dried up. Last year, even like there were still people playing Madden. until maybe a
Mhm.
week before the new game dropped, because there was no alternative football
Absolutely.
game.
June
Um,
goons and everything. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, man. And I was like, I remember enjoying that downswing of Madden where it's a little bit of quiet time to like, I got a God squad. I don't need to add new players every week. They give us a couple free players a
Yeah.
week to try out. My team's already built, so I'm not stressing about getting my rookie premieres done. It was already done. This year I was like, I kind of made a point in March. I was like, I want to have a second game because there's always those dead periods of Madden where you get through a week, you're like, I cannot look at this game anymore. I need a break. So for me, I was like, I want to play MLB. I enjoy it. I'm probably a little bit better at MLB than I am at Madden. Um, I feel like it's easy to grind, no money spent. So it was important to me to get a second game. I still consider myself a Madden guy through and through, but I was like, I want to have, even if it's just one stream out of every five, that I do something different. It's just a way to branch out. And I've tried branching out. The podcast or something I always enjoy. They always re-inspire me. Like having these
That's really cool.
conversations. I kind of fell off of that for a while because I was like, becoming a new father. I was like, man, it's tough. My scheduling of anything is tough. So I don't want to be
Absolutely.
making other people dance around my incredibly limited schedule. So I just stopped doing them altogether. But now I'm really trying to push myself to get like at least one podcast in every, one a week or two a
Oh, that's
month or
awesome.
whatever it is. But yeah, no, I definitely wanted to have you on here for a long time and have this conversation. It's been definitely eye opening, and I've been enjoying learning more about your kind of journey. So do you feel like darts is kind of like um, re-inspired you, I guess, as a content creator? Do you feel like that's kind of the next frontier, or do you think you're going to still try to balance both of them going into the Madden 25 year that's coming up?
It's funny because I think darts is more like a personal journey, and it's just kind of like it's in my man cave. I might as well stream it. Like I'm gonna play it anyways, and
Yeah,
if I get a viewer, I'll play it. If it's entertaining, great. But like I think this Madden's like always my number one game. I just enjoy playing it. So it's like until that love of Madden goes away, it's
yeah,
kind of hard to put that there. So
yeah,
who knows? One day I may be like, you know what? I don't want to play Madden. Which, like I said, this year I reached that for the first time ever. I was like, I don't want to turn mud on. I don't want to play this. This is
yeah,
not fun right now.
yeah. Oh yeah, I've been there
And
before.
Darts
Yeah,
was, and it just took over for like 6 months, and it just ended up blowing up more than I thought it would. I went from 2 subs to 10 for 6 months.
yeah,
It was crazy
yeah,
and stuff. And so yeah, I mean, I think darts is something that came along. It's going to be there forever for me as long as the doctors say I can stand and throw a dart. I
yeah.
think I'll be okay.
Yes, sir.
But same thing with Madden. I think Madden's kind of like my when it's out, I'm gonna play it for the 3-4 months that it's there, and then we'll see what it can be. Like
Yeah,
I just thought I've always want to be a part of the community, and whatever part of the community that I get to be is wonderful. I mean,
yeah.
I've had the pleasure of being in the middle of an EA stream, and I've had the pleasure of no one knowing who I am in the EA stream. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And one thing I was thinking, as you mentioned darts, I had a brief stint one summer where I did this sports accelerator program thing. I don't even remember. I had to apply for it. I don't remember how I got into it, and I was doing some like side casting and stuff like that, podcasts that were sports related, and I continued some of that like to some degree, but probably should have kept going with it because I didn't realize they actually gave decent payouts that I didn't realize until after the summer was done. I was like, oh damn, I probably shouldn't have dropped out of this thing because that was better money than I was making doing my streams. But anyways, that's a
I
side
have
thought. But one of the guys that I met on there was I think In the Mud Sports was his name, and he does darts. And I collaborated with him on something. I went to his stream and I was like, man, this is crazy. It was like 200 people in there and like crazy interaction and like I was like, dude, I was like, I didn't realize this community existed on Twitch. Like, there's stuff outside of just the tiny
I
Madden
never knew.
community. Yeah,
Like I never knew.
and
'Cause
there's so many different communities that I don't know about on Twitch. My viewing experience is so limited. Like I watch maybe one MLB streamer. I watch all Madden streamers. Both streamers from
yeah,
both those directories are doing college football. I'll watch that, but like I don't. There's so much
yeah,
going on Twitch that I don't know about. So, I guess for
yeah.
someone who's like struggling to find their
So much
spot,
out
there's
there.
always a new community out there.
And I think that's one thing that a streamer told me one time is they're like, you only stream Madden. It'd be really interesting to see if you stream something else to see if you actually got people to come. And I
Yeah,
guess this is actually the first time that's ever happened because I've never streamed
yeah,
something else.
yeah.
So it's the only thing I've ever streamed
Uncharted
other than like
territory.
I think I streamed Call of Duty one day, but I suck at Call of Duty, so
Yeah.
no one's gonna
Call of Duty's
like
tough too. It's tough to read the chat
I
when you're like
can't
trying
do
to stay alive and and
it.
and blow
Shout out
people's
to
heads
you if
off.
you can get one kill in Call of Duty. I'm not
Oh,
of
dude,
that. I
I
can't
I suck at it too. I enjoy playing Warzone, but I find
stick to
I kind
Madden.
of ignore my chat when that happens, and my streams are kind of dead. And then it's yeah, I'm just not on that high level. I love playing if I can play with two really really good guys who can carry me. Um, But even then, it's
Absolutely,
like
yeah. You're
most of the time I'm
carrying
just
for sure.
spectating. I'm dead in the first 2 minutes, and then I'm just watching them go around and kill everybody. And it can be fun, but it's not for
Yeah,
everyone. But last thing I wanted to ask you
yeah.
about, because I feel like we got a good kind of basis for your whole story, your come up, your Madden journey, your darts journey, the freestyle battle journey. I wanted to ask about, for content goals or just for like personal goals going forward. Do you have
Absolutely.
any like, measurable goals, or do you have any big picture stuff that you're kind of looking to work towards in the content field?
So absolutely, I've always had this one goal in mind ever since I started, and it was never. And I always tell people it's never to be famous. It's never to be like to hit the stream button and get a thousand views. It'd be nice to get that, but I
Yeah,
always want to hit the stream button and get the same 5 to 10 people always in the
yeah,
chat because I'll see people stream, and you other
yeah,
people that I watch all the time. They'll hit their stream button, and in the first 5 minutes they get their loyals there. They get their hey
yeah,
what's up, hang out, and then they go on about their business. I think that's something I've always wanted to hit. And whether
yeah,
that's 5 people, whether it's 20, whether it's one,
yeah,
I think that's one of the goals that I inspire to is when I hit to go live. And I think I'm starting to get there finally. I'm starting to tread some light because I've a lot of people may not know this, but I actually have a sub that he's subbed to me for 3 years. I have another sub
yeah,
that's subbed for 2 years, and I'm getting on that trend. So really, it's
yeah,
the trend of learning how to build that. And W had a great line in one of his videos, and I think I'm gonna remember this one forever. It's remember your stream, and it's funny it's called the stream, but
yeah,
as a lake, and you're building a river to the lake. And one thing I want to build is like my YouTube backup. I used to have a big YouTube following. If you
yeah,
ever see my YouTube, you're like, wow, why is there so many people, but he gets so little views? It's because
yeah,
I stopped doing YouTube. I wanted Twitch,
yeah,
and so I think it's one of those. Is I want to be able to hit the go live and people to see that just come hang out for 5 minutes and then go. It's fine. Like I
yeah,
can
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, I think that's one of the goals is to hit the go live, get my normal chat there, and do that. And one more goal that I definitely want to hit. A lot of people think I want to make an EA major and get a belt and do all that.
yeah,
I really don't aspire to get a belt. It'd be cool, but
yeah,
I don't aspire to do that.
yeah,
Um, I really would love to get on another Bot Wars. I want to
yeah,
get whether it's Halloween or whatever, and play against some fun people. I like that opportunity,
yeah,
and that's what I want. I want to do that and run tournaments and have those stuff. And honestly, shout out to anyone on Players Lounge who watches my stuff, because for the first time in 10 years, they finally started putting tournaments for West Coast people at 8 o'clock at
Hey, let's
night. And I think
go.
that's something
W.
to do with some influence that I may or may not have had throughout the years. And that's basically my goal is I want to be able to influence a certain number of people that are afraid to speak up or speak out, even though I don't have a 500 viewer following.
Yeah,
If I inspire one person, like I tell people,
yeah,
one person to get on and play Madden or stream or do whatever, that's pretty much what my goal wants to be. Like, hey, MP is
yeah.
going to be in this. I want to see this. Or like when people said about the podcast, I know
Yeah,
certain people that
people have
wanted
been
to see
excited,
it.
man. People have been excited. I kind of kept it like, we talked about this, maybe over a week ago, but like, people have been asking for a long time, and I just wanted to make sure that I got back into the routine of actually posting these videos and doing these interviews. But I knew I was going to put it out to you, and I was hoping you would say yes to it. People do
Yeah,
want to see, they do want to see the interview, and I'm hoping people want to, I have no illusions of this going crazy because there's algorithms, there's all kinds of stuff that goes into it. But like, I'm gonna put it out there, and then the few people that want to see it and watch it, I hope that they get some enjoyment out of this conversation. Sometimes it feels
yeah,
like when I feel like sometimes I'm creating content and it's like going out into the void, and maybe it latches on. But like you said, like, having that core group, that small group of loyals, streaming on Twitch in the summer has been slow. Like for me, it's been slow. It's been a dip. Like last summer when I streamed full time, it picked up a little bit. It wouldn't go crazy, but it picked up. This summer with
yeah.
college football, I feel like I'm kind of lost in the shuffle a bit. But having those five,
Wow.
sometimes 10 people that come in regularly, and I know I can count on
Yeah,
seeing these people
absolutely.
every day is awesome, man. Like we can't take that for
And
granted, for sure.
and one thing I want people to like pick up off this is I know a lot of people think from my Twitter persona, which you've looked past, you've seen past it and stuff. I'm a very down to earth kind of chill guy. I'm not really that crazy of a guy. Like
Yeah,
Greg met me in person and he was like, "It's weird meeting you in person. You're kind of a chill guy. You're not very crazy
yeah,
like you would think." So I think when they watch this, they're gonna realize that I'm not this crazy delusional guy. I'm pretty down to earth. I'm a normal guy, 8 to 5 job, family.
Yeah.
I just love streaming and being entertaining, and that's one thing I want people to pick up from this interview that I had with
Yeah.
you. And I
Absolutely, man.
appreciate it. You're one of my favorite streamers that I watch. You're very down to earth, even though I'm not very vocal in chat. I know that,
Oh, well,
but
I appreciate
I
that,
put
man.
I always put my little emotes, and that's my way of always just saying hi. I can't chat, but hey, this is
Oh,
MP
dude,
saying
I feel that. I can barely watch. Like that's one thing. I was going off on a tangent earlier on the podcast, and I kind of lost my train of thought. But like, I have so little time to be a viewer now. I was thinking about all the little inside references you make, and I think I know the Madden community, but like really, I just get maybe 2-3 hours, maybe 4 or 5 nights a week during the school year that I can actually hop on my setup, and that's my only time to stream and do all the offline stuff. So my viewership,
yeah,
I barely get to check in like ever, and that's just a
yeah,
thing that's changed since COVID, where I could watch a lot of streams. So,
and
Twitter's the
that's
one
the
thing
thing.
I can like. Twitter's great because I can be on the
Twitter's been wonderful.
streetcar and check Twitter and stay in touch with what people are doing. But Twitch, I just can't do it like I used to.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's one thing also, like, about my stream, everything you see on it, like, all the emotes, all the stuff, that's just me trying to do it in my free time.
yeah, yeah, man. I
And it's
wish I
hard.
could learn how to do more of that because it's expensive paying other people to do all this stuff. If you can do it yourself, it's great, a great skill set
Yeah,
to learn.
right?
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, so awesome.
yeah, no, man, I really enjoy this conversation. I definitely take some
Thanks, man.
inspiration, and I feel like I found a lot of common ground with your journey, with my own journey as well, through content
Thank you.
creation. But MP, man, I'd love to have you back on. Like I do some sports podcasts. I haven't done a panel one in a long time. I'd love to invite you on for one of those in the future. Obviously, it would have to be
Always
at
down.
a West Coast friendly time. Um,
Yeah,
but
or the
but
weekend.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Pretty much if it's the
absolutely,
weekend, it doesn't matter, it's just West Coast, I don't get home till 9 p.m. Eastern, so
absolutely,
I get
man.
home at
But
about 5:30 Eastern, but or I mean, 8:30 Eastern, but yeah,
yeah,
9's always a good time,
We'll,
so
we'll talk because I feel like we had a really good conversation. I really enjoyed picking your
absolutely.
brain about a few different things. But thank you so much for telling your story and giving people your side of things.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully you conveyed what you wanted to convey to the people that are going to watch this podcast on YouTube and the people that stayed in today. I really enjoyed it, and
Thank you.
I feel like I learned a lot about you. So thanks for doing it, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.